Good evening, good evening, good evening. Tonight I'd like to read a post from the group Ifa Orisha Egun Talks on Facebook. It was posted initially by American IFA-FA-AFA. American IFA, which is a nonprofit organization, 501c3, registered in the state of Florida, in regards to the position of women in IFA today and how American IFA is calling out for the women who are in IFA, the women who are called the IYANIFAS, to bond together and start making a movement of women in IFA, what we called the movement of Odu. It has been 5 years since American IFA-FA-AFA has opened doors for women to practice African traditions on par with our male counterparts in the places in which we live. Each year, on December 21st, we have polled the annual Odu for the coming year for America and the Diaspora. So far, all predictions were spot on, depicting the accuracy of the IYANIFAS and their ability to connect with Allah, the divine essence. So we asked our IYANIFAS, what say you? What are your thoughts about collaboration with American IFA-FA-AFA that is headed by females? American IFA wrote a note about the reasons why American IFA was formed into a corporation. And in doing so, we decided to write this post and to let all the IYANIFAS know, all the Babalawos know, and all those adherents of IFA know that the women are ready. The women want to be acknowledged and recognized in IFA, that they are capable just as the men. So we begin with our note from 2015. Honoring your ancestors who brought many slaves to freedom in America. That's what we do. You have the freedom to practice whatever spiritual religion where you live. That's our idea. We will soon have a woman on our American dollar. That is something to be seen. We have to have love. That's what women love the most. We have to have unity and practice spirituality where we live. Being at home is being at home. Home is the place and where you make it. So American IFA writes, unity in spirit. American IFA-FA-AFA came to be by watching the people of the diaspora over a period of countless years, becoming closer to their spiritual roots in Africa through the yearning to connect with their ancestors. However, despite the yearning, there was and is still a barrier. One barrier is distance. During the growth spurt of connecting to our African roots, a large percentage of the growing numbers of IFA and Orisha devotees and practitioners were and still are financially unable to make the journey home to Africa. We then asked ourselves, does that mean that we are not African, or that we can't devote countless hours into practicing our African faiths? Even those numerous of peoples who were able to go back home could not do so for an extended period of time, which is needed to become fully involved in the traditional African culture in the ways it is done at home in Africa. The question then became, how can we practice our African roots in the places in which we live and still maintain the common tenets of our faith to the best of our ability? In essence, we recognize that we can be devoted to and practice our African roots in a foreign land just as our ancestors did, which resulted in the survival of our African faiths in a foreign land and the land in which we live, called America. In so doing, we found that we can express our commonalities in the ways in which we express our spiritualities in the places in which we live. Why proudly American IFA-FA-AFA? According to the United States 1860 census, there were 3,953,761 African slaves that represented 12.6% of the total American population. The Statue of Liberty and the Statue of Freedom were both created from an African slave woman model, which recognized the African presence in the United States of America. The slaves brought their dance, music, stories, and faith to a foreign land, and after more than 400 years of struggle, were finally recognized as African American. This recognition came with the rights and privileges according to all people of the land called America. Why American IFA-FA-AFA stands for unification and diversity. America, Diaspora, is truly the land of diversity, where ancestors Orisha and Ifa were widely practiced by the descendants of African slaves. In America, Diaspora, the Cubans have Lukumi and Santeria, the Brazilians have Candomblé, Haitians have Voodoo, Jamaicans have Obia, Angola have Geechee, and so on. These offsprings of African culture not only blended their cultures in order to survive, but they made it comfortable to fit the environment in which they lived. All of these offsprings have two things in common, which are their roots, ancestors, and faith in the African deities. At the end of the day, yes, at the end of the day, everyone wants to live comfortably before going to a ruined heaven. And everyone wants to practice Orisha and Ifa life from their ancestral roots of Africa. However, everyone cannot and will not go back home to Africa in order to follow their roots. Many are doing it in the places in which they live and afford. According to Emerson Biakolo in the Nigerian Guardian of 28 November 1992, he asks, do men believe just because they want to or because the object of their faith is credible? According to Edmund Burke, 1790, people will never look forward to posterity who never looks backwards to their ancestors. The concept of diversity creates assimilation for Americans and the diaspora. Cultures and beliefs which brings a special type of unity, ideas for harmony, a unique mechanical design for spiritual growth, and plasmatic substance for long life, and the spread of Ifa is already a culture. How does American IFA-FA-AFA look back to their African ancestors? Today, the most widely practiced of African faiths in the diaspora are Orisha, Ifa, Voodoo, Obia, and so on. The most prevalent one is Ifa, and is called by many other names since Ifa is the system that sets the guidelines for our way of life in so many ways. Ifa is the binary numerical system of Odus, that proverbs, of which determines our individual destinies. Ifa is the oracle of wisdom, knowledge, and messages from Olodumare for an individual. So when you look at Ifa, you have to say that Ifa is for everyone. Ifa is the oracle of wisdom, knowledge, and messages from Olodumare for all individuals' destiny in life, which is governed by the Orisha Oromila. Ifa has many names that have assimilated into many cultures as follows. Ifa among the Edos of Nigeria, Fa among the Fon of the Republic of Benin, Eva by the Nupes, Ifa in Cuba, USA, Brazil, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Suriname, and Haiti, Afa by the airways of Togo, Epa by Jews, Geomancy by Europeans, and Malagasy, as well as Ramal or Haiti by Arabs. Ifa is widespread in Africa. It is practiced among the Igbos of eastern Nigeria and the Kamuku, and Kwari of northern Nigeria, the Igbira in south-central Nigeria, and the Jukun of eastern Nigeria, and all the tribes in the region around the cross rivers, among the Siwa people in the Sahara. Ifa is known as Durb el Ram or Durb el Fu. It is also widely practiced in Ivory Coast, Ghana, Sierra Leone, as well as in Liberia. All of this posted by Professor Iduwo Odeyemi, 2007. In other words, Vince 2010 states that the United States is unique, and not only is it a country, but it's also an idea where people around the world don't just dream of coming to America, they dream of becoming Americans. American IFA-FA-AFA is like Yeye or Oshun, and fashioned after the nurturing energy of the women who represent the leadership of Ifa Orisha way of life in the diaspora. Just like the original Statue of Liberty, we are here as a symbol of freedom that our ancestors died for in order for us to live. We are also here to claim that freedom in the place we live in order to honor our ancestors' memories. As we live devoted to and practicing our African culture in the faces of adversities and in the faces of our adversaries, we make ourselves comfortable. Most importantly, American IFA-FA-AFA devotees and practitioners are claiming their rights and privileges under the U.S. Constitution.